Welcome to BG Zone. Since the first time we saw the protagonist of this title running in a light show, it raised the attention of many of us. This, with the last name of Square Enix, created high expectations for the game. Was it able to accomplish them? And above it, can we recommend it to you? This is our Forspoken review. In Forspoken we play as Frey, a New York civilian that manages to get involved in a magical and fantastic world. The character is far away from being the typical hero, willing to sacrifice it all to save the ones in need. In fact, she's the opposite, sarcastic, selfish, and every now and then she will suggest dropping out of the adventure she's living. Something like that classmate or workmate that you would not like to have. Under this premise, the game could get you uncomfortable if you're generally looking for a good time. But this is where I tell you, the game builds around this personality, and soon enough we will be seeing her in situations which challenges her way of dealing with things. This approach was risky, and I'm afraid that it will make that many will abandon it before reaching the conclusion which makes us understand her personality, motivations, and Frey's final version. Aside of this protagonist motivation strip, we find Athia, a magical kingdom that is being devoured by darkness. This makes the animal and human to morph into weird and dangerous creatures. For some reason, you and your magical bracelet seem to be its final hope. Are you willing to save it? The game has the following pillars. Open world. As the story, the gameplay also has a slow start, talking about mobility. But as we progress through Athia and start getting new abilities, we will find an exceptional one. As we reach the most isolated places just by running and jumping. The open world is big and has combats, enemy waves, mini-bosses, chests with key resources, and a great quantity of missions which gives you experience, stats improvements, items, and lore. RPG. The game offers many skill trees, challenges to improve the spell effectiveness, equipment improvements with perks from mission items, and also stat improvements for our character. Combat. Side steps, auto-block, and many spells to use will give you variety to test. Combined with enemies which are more vulnerable to certain kind of magic, will have you curious to test which one works better. Although you could also use the investigation ability of your bracelet cuff to have a quick answer. Although most of the missions are amusing, there are a few, including ones from the main story, which will get us going around to find irrelevant dialogue. The game has enough to offer an entertaining experience, but if you're quick, it will take you around 10 hours to finish it, including doing some side quests and farming. The PS5 experience. The game uses the following: haptic feedback. You will feel the hits and some movements in the palm of your hands. Adaptive triggers. Each spell has its own trigger resistance. This will add some difficulty in certain ones. DualSense speakers. As Kof talks to you, you will hear him in your screen and in your DualSense, adding some mystical touch to the dialogues with him. SSD. The game has one of the fastest fast travels that I have seen. Graphical options. Forspoken offers options to privilege resolution, frame rate, or a mix between them. I recommend using the mix to enjoy some quality without losing frame rate. Graphics and music. The visual aspect of the game is quite pleasant, and the particles that each spell generate will show us the mysticism of Athia. I could say that the music is functional, although there will be occasions where we find some uncomfortable silence. Forspoken is without a doubt a risky bet, offering us a hard-to-like protagonist, and although at the beginning of the story might seem daunting, it is pleasing to see a change in the kind of protagonist we are used to, opening the possibility to explore a very unique story to reach new unfamiliar corners. In gameplay, once you get through the first hours and find the mobility spells, you will desire to be running through Athia to explore what it has to offer. We also find a great success in its open world formula, in which walking through the main missions, you will find a good quantity of side quests that rewards you in gameplay or with lore. Considering the rhythm changes, missions quality, and some cinematics, it could not help but feel like isolated works that were joined at the end. I could say that generally, Forspoken is a visual delight, a very enjoyable game with an enjoyable story if you're willing to have patience to reach the ending that the developers wanted to share. If you like other type of, I would suggest to look for our other reviews. So there you have it. This was our Forspoken review. Which genre do you prefer the most? If you like this video, do not forget to subscribe, that we will keep publishing more content like this. Do not forget that for the best in the video games world, enter the zone. We're not at BG Zone. Until the next one.